And hello, everybody. Glad to be with you this evening. And it's a great time to clear out those visibility and unworthiness patterns and, start attracting what you want, especially those high end clients. So I brought forth a friend of mine, Bessie here, who's very talented at working with people's energies fields, and she's going to talk to you about it. But she's gone through her own journey of visibility, worthiness stuff, and it's one of those things, right? Like, hey, if I can do it, you can do it too. And she's helped other people to move through their stuff. So I'm looking forward to having her share with you some expertise, knowledge, and wisdom to help you to start moving through those visibility and worthiness blocks. So good to have you here today, Bessie.
Yes, thanks, Daniel. I'm happy to be here.
And it's
Yeah.
just so wonderful. Just before we got on, Bessie was like, I'm going to put on my crown tonight. So we got that wonderful. And she said, got the magic going for all of us here with that. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you about Bessie just for a sec. Bessie uh, Estonactoc, she's been a counselor, psychotherapist for 20 plus years, helped hundreds of clients, especially women, heal and transform their life, work, and or relationships to live a life of peace and courage instead of living in fear and anxiety. She does this incredible coaching and healing and hypnotherapy work, helping professional spiritual women uh, to really to blossom, to get into present moment awareness, and to start seeing that there's a magical life to come into you that you can start experiencing that allows us those pesky fears and anxieties to rest, lays them to rest because you works deeply on the stories, childhood storylines, genetic lines, karmic lines, past lives, etc. Right, to bring you in alignment with your higher self, with your spiritual 5D being, into the 3Ds. And much more. So she'll be getting into it and sharing with you here in a moment. So, Bessie, I know that you were one of those people that probably struggled getting clients for a while, right? And all that stuff, and had a hard time showing up and everything. So could you tell us something about your like some of the struggles you've had that so many people have with just being able to show up? I mean, much less feel worthy, right? So tell us a little bit about your journey with that and what you've discovered in that process of breaking through yourself.
Yeah. So, of course, I know that what I do is from what I've experienced in my childhood. I think we've all gone through stuff. And when I was growing up, and I'll just share a little bit, when I was growing up, I was very invisible. I share the story to my clients about how my father was very much of a recluse. He didn't say much. And he actually, I still have vivid memories of this, how he was in his kitchen, our kitchen, playing solitaire, listening to the Giants game. And I would walk in there, he would not say a word. And so I felt very invisible. I also felt unworthy. I felt very unloved. But, I feel that we come back into this earth, our soul comes back into this earth, choosing our parents. That's Bessie's. That's what I feel, and that my dad was my teacher. For the longest time, I blamed him. Oh, it's his fault that I'm unloved. It's his fault I feel miserable. It's his fault. Blah 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 blah. And for the longest time, I blamed him for my own misery. But when I made the shift growing up, it was like, especially doing this work for myself, that ah, wait a minute. He's here to teach me to learn to love myself, to know that I'm worthy, and it's I can be visible. And so I've gone through my own path of, becoming a counselor and a therapist. That was my past life. And I learned a lot about the psychology of things. And then, but then as I was seeing clients back then, and when I was living in Hawaii, being an intuitive, being an empath, there was just something about understanding how there's a spiritual part of who we are. And that as I have gone on this path, to know that it was time to let go of the story, to start listening to my why and my purpose, which is really helping people understand, especially women, that it's time to come out, to really share your gifts, to really share your healing abilities. And I share that a lot with the clients that I work with, that it's okay to know that rather than feeling like you've been the victim, that what are you passionate about? What is it that you want to be able to do in this life, and what's your purpose? And I know mine is helping women to come out of that fear and anxiety of knowing that if they have something passionate that they want to share in the world, that they can't play small anymore, and that it's time to really branch out and know that it's okay to be visible, to know that they're worthy. For the longest time, I didn't feel that, but funny story in sharing this, I decided when I was going to leave the therapy world, I was going to become a coach. So I took some coaching classes and I said, okay, I'm ready. I didn't have a business coach. I just took the coaching cla- um, um, classes, and I said, I'm going to do a workshop. And it was about learning how to be able to tune into your intuition, I believe, something like that. But there was a part of me that was like, well, who am I? This was probably over 10 years ago. Well, who am I to do this? But there was this part of me that said, let's just give it a try, just do it. And so I went out and I would call on people who would be interested. I emailed people. But there was this part of me that still said, well, who am I? Who am I to do this? Excuse me. It ended up being that I had one person that wanted to come to my workshop, but then she backed out. And it was like, oh, okay. Well, interestingly enough, there was this, there wasn't this alignment here that happened. Um, but I learned how important it was for me to be more visible, to really step out, to make that phone call, to get out there and do Facebook Lives or whatever as time went on. But it took some courage. It took some understanding of my old story uh, to come back to the essence of who I know I am, to be able to share what I am doing here in this world. So I used to do one-on sessions, like I'd have clients come to me for one session at a time. And I thought, oh heck, how am I going to how am I going to see clients with one-on sessions in my week? That was like, that would be a lot of my time. And I'm a grandma now. I have grandchildren. I want to be able to balance and have my time to be able to see my grandchildren, spend time with my family, and do the work that I do. And so, um, as I've been doing this work, I know that I add more value when I have clients for programs, whether it's a group program or an individual program. So, um, probably these last 5 years, that's been more of what I've been doing programs and doing a program with women that last 3 or 6 months or even a year. And that's how I've been able to, rather than one-on sessions, I've been able to attract higher paying clients who are willing to uh, have that sacred time with me to be able to transform their beliefs and transform and let go of those stories to really come back to the essence of who they are.
Hmm.
Long story short, yeah, yeah, that's my story.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. I mean, so, so what do you think flip things for you? Like, what, how did you, was it a lot of your own inner work, or was it just kind of being consistent that, hey, I'm going to get past this, I'm going to start having clients, and start showing up, going to do those Facebook lives, or what do you think was like the what did the trick for you, so to speak?
You know, I think it's the inner and the outer work. I really had to believe in myself and the reason that I'm doing this work. And if and understanding that, and I feel like I'm answering the call. I'm answering the call from source, from God, whoever, the universe, that I've come back to this earth plane to be able to help other souls um, believe in their worth, to believe in themselves, to if they have gifts that they want to be able to share with their world, and because I know that I've gone through challenges just like others have, but I haven't had that hold me back. And so there was a lot of inner work that I needed to do, but also tuning into my intuition, really listening to the call, and then, you know, taking that inspired action, really being able to know the difference between pushing versus uh, standing in the energy. I call it CEO energy. Standing in the energy of the energy of who I am and what I do. And when I stay in that energy and move into the different things that I do to be able to help others and help myself, then it feels more aligned rather than the pushing. Pushing is too stressful. It's not aligned. It's not aligned. It's not aligned. Yeah.
Right, right,
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
right. So yeah, because you can be very persistent on things, but it's easy to be persistent with things that aren't really moving things forward because we're still not being ourselves, we're not being visible. Well, I'm keep working on my course that I'm going to launch someday or whatever, and maybe people stay at it, but they never release the course. They never, or if they do, they share it to a few people or something, and then they like, well, it didn't fill, and they're barely being visible. I mean, I remember when I first started off in this whole thing in the online space, when I had a few hundred people on my list, I mean, that might sound like a decent amount to some people, but back then it wasn't very much. And at the time, I remember somebody I was talking to had an 18,000 person list or something, and she's like, "Well, how many people you got on our list?" And it's like 400 some people, and she's like, "Well, there's your problem right there. You need to get in front of people and get people on your email list." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I am, and I will. You've been at it a lot longer than I have, as in truth." But she was still right, like get in front of more people. So I think like we just, when we hear these big numbers, like back then I could have been like 18,000. Oh my God. And then I'll have to do that. How am I ever going to get in front of 18,000 people? And I could have been just driving myself nuts, but I didn't think of it that way. I'm just like, yeah, keep going, just as many as possible kind of mentality at the time. And like, just keep adding people to your list and keep making offers and keep showing up. And that was all kind of the outer. And then there's the inner of like similar for me growing up, like it just seemed like I am shy and like I was called Mr. Invisible. I mean,
Mm.
so just not really showing up at all. So this showing up thing became like a big thing for me, right? It still is, like, hey, here I am tonight, showed up again. What do you know? So at some level, it's still a big deal, even though it's not like in the past, but like it's still a big deal. Okay, we're showing up. Me and Bessie both showed up, and whoever is tuning in, but to keep showing up is in itself is big, and that will definitely that definitely helps to clear blocks. And then there's the inner stories that come up. So we all have our own process of trying to clear those stories. What do you do to when you're helping your clients? Like, how do you help them clear? There's the stories you become aware of by paying attention, right? And then there's stories you're not even aware that you're having that are maybe totally influencing you not showing up and feeling worthy. And then, so how do you help people become more aware of what's going on, and what they don't even know what's going on, and then clearing those things, like, because that's where you add a lot of value. Like, people could try to do it on their own, but there's something about somebody that's able to see things that they're not able to see, and then to do, help us to clear it.
I have a, when I'm in a coaching session with a client, I, first of all, it's really a sacred space and I tune in. There's this definite, I don't want to say dance, but there's a definite connection. I hear with my spirit eyes, my divine, I'm sorry, I hear with my divine spirit ears. I see, I feel. So I kind of tune into the energy and listening to the words, I guess, in between those meta words. And when there is that safe space that I can give them, I I don't want to say I call them on it, but I ask the question. I gently ask the question, and more often than not, it's definitely that block is usually something from an old story. And so I have this, I call it transforming your blocks. I have a, uh, I help empower them by teaching them a visualization, an energetic, um, using energy to see where in their body, in their chakras, the energy is being held, and they transform it. They learn how to be able to transform that from whatever the old story is to the new story. And then they come up with an affirmation and some sort of symbol to remind them so that when, because life isn't perfect, our ego mind is always going to come into play, you know, letting us know, well, really? Can you really do that? Or the fear or the anxiety, but having a tool, I give them some sort of tool in their toolbox for them to know that they can transform it, come back to that symbol, come back to that affirmation, come back to the energy of knowing that they can shift in the present moment whatever is not serving them to be able to come back to center. So, and I use that often with my clients. And it's something that helps them to, I call it rewire their brain. It's they're rewiring their brain to be able to know that they can do this. They don't have to be stuck in that fear or that anxiety or that whatever that feeling is, that they can learn to be able to shift it.
Hmm. Yeah. What are some of the what would you say are like the top, like, thoughts or beliefs that people have that hold them back with the visibility and the worthiness?
Mm, wow. Let's see. I'm not good enough. I'm not educated enough. What I say doesn't really matter because if I compare myself to someone else, I can't match up. Um, I'm afraid of maybe being exiled came into mind because it's past life because I do a lot of past life. I feel that I'm going to be hurt, be rejected, those kind of things. So a lot of underlying thoughts really come up about um, being visible for a lot of people. And, even with growing up, you may have been in a family where, you know, shut up. Sorry. You don't say anything. You can't say anything in this house. You're, you listen to me, kind of thing. Um, so there's so many things, stories that can be really um, unconscious that that are getting in the way. Even though someone really wants to get out there and be more visible, there's this like push pull that happens. So those are some. Those are
Hmm.
some. Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, especially with the maybe people have some clients every once in a while, but when it comes down to like, all right, well, do you have any paying clients? And the answer, if the answer is no, then it's because I'm like there's different belief systems there too. Well, okay, well, I'm one of the good ones. I don't charge so much, or, like I'm being, it's like a charity, right? So, like, I'm not after, I'm going to prove I'm not for the money. I'm going to charge 50 a session, like, or,
And I did that. I used to do that, and I thought to myself, well, I started out with 50, and I'm going, oh, I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go 60, and I'm going, oh, wait a minute. I'm thinking mathematically in my mind, how many people am I going to be able to see in a week? To really make first of all an income for myself, and then make an and be able to, I want to say, save my energy to be able to see that many people. And so yeah, and for a while I was going, oh, you know what, yeah, try a session out and see if you like it, kind of thing, in the very beginning. But that was like, for me, that really felt like, well, wait a minute, my time and their time is really important. And the energy that I put out to do my work, just like if you're at a regular job, you get paid for it. And so if after a while it was like, uh, I have learned so much with my education and my training, but also I have so much life experience that to charge $60 an hour. No, and it's there's this exchange too. There's that energy exchange, knowing that you, we have so much to offer for any of our clients that it we can't shortchange ourselves, because then we're shortchanging our soul. We're shortchanging our work. And yeah, we all matter. We all matter. I was in this networking group this past week, and the question was, or the sentence was, I matter because. And one lady said, I matter because I exist. I matter because I get to do the work that I do. We all matter, and we all have so many things to really share, to be able to heal our part of the world. And that's how I see it. Because what the heck, there's how many people in this world? 8 billion, I think, some crazy number. And we can all have a part of that, to be able to heal our part of the world and our community. And we have to get out there and know that, um, if you don't, that you're not following the call. And if you don't follow the call, it's going to feel crappy. It's not going to feel good. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't, they might be like, I don't need the money and I'm fine without it. But I find that then they're lying to themselves because they're like, as you talk to them, like, yeah, they actually do want the money, and like telling stories to themselves about these ideas. So, but yeah, I mean, I've seen people just give up. They're just like, well, maybe I'll just lay low. Life will be fine, everything will be okay. I just won't do it, and all that kind of thing, or I just do it with
Hmm.
friends and family and all that kind
Right.
of thing. And after all, pretty awkward, and not one of those slick guys like Daniel or Bessie or whoever it is. But I I tell you, I mean, I'm the last person that would be seen as somebody that would be able to be extroverted and whatnot when I was younger, especially. So people like Bessie and me can show up and do it, and chances are you can definitely do it too. It's just all beliefs. It's all belief system. So, and
Yes,
just
yes, yes,
being
yes.
willing to,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
mhm.
yeah,
Yes,
be willing.
absolutely. Belief, yes, yeah. I have that right behind me.
Yeah, right,
Belief.
right, yeah, right, right. Yeah, we have. I know you do like all these different clearings. They got a program coming up that we'll put a link in about, but you clear these different levels around things, the genetic lines, the karma, etc. Like we're not just dealing with like only the things you kind of aware of. Like you're clearing others things beyond that have made differences in the people's lives, I imagine. So could you think of a story where you cleared something on these other levels that people weren't aware of, like genetic, karmic, or otherwise? Like they weren't aware of it, but you picked up on something, you did a clearing, and it made a big difference for them?
Yeah, I actually have a client that I'm working with right now, and she's really ready to just branch out even more now. I mean, she was doing a lot of one-ons, but now she's just like really ready to just step out into the world. And we've done the karmic clearing and the genetic line. We've actually done three of them already. And the way this works, Daniel, is that as a hypnotherapist and a past life regressionist, I I allow or I have the sacred space for my clients to really know that they're safe to go into this space to tune in and really find out where is that story? Where is that story that goes back, way back? And it's like concentric circles. It's she was able to see from this life how the story with her father, especially, um, has been holding her back to really be her true self. And I don't want to get a whole lot into that, but there was definitely some abuse there. Um, but when she went into the genetic lines, the family lines, she was able to visualize and see the family line of the mother and the father line and be able to heal going way back. And one of the messages that she received was the time is now. This is your time. And they even said to her, thank you, thank you. And it was just so powerful because she really felt it was such a profound session for her because she energetically was able to go into the story from this life, go see how that story just kind of like trickled all the way back, all the way back, all the way back. But she didn't, there was this feeling of love and forgiveness and compassion that she had. And she's a Reiki practitioner as well. So she was able to really send healing to the family line, the mother and the father, but especially the father line. And it was just so profound for her to be able to do that. And she never even thought about understanding how there's that trickle down effect.
Mhm.
And now she really knows that this is her time now. It's her time to let go and just release that energy now for her to be able to move forward, to be the true healer that she is. And it was a beautiful, beautiful session. And for the family to say thank you to her, how beautiful is that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, imagine that's true for a lot of your clients. Like, is my kind of my whole focus for a long time is like helping healers to actually even be able to claim their healers and show up as healers and all that. And I'm sure you work with a lot of that too. That okay, oh wow, I have this gift, but then they're not willing to show up with it. And so what you're doing is helping to clear these things so they can show up as the healers or spiritual leaders or what have you, that they are, and start doing that work. So that's great. So I'm going to go ahead, and I am going to go ahead and put in here into the notes the link to the program that you've got coming up, because we're a little limited on our time, but yeah, the thing with Bessie is that you may not get just from the interview. Is just what I know about her is that she holds a very great space for you to feel safe, and then she's able to help you through tuning into you, and also you tuning into yourself to be able to see where the blocks are so that you can start seeing the headway you're looking for. And one of the signs that somebody is doing something that's appreciated is she has a lot of clients that work with her, again and again. They don't just always, just work once or something. So she's making a real impact in people's lives. So, but yeah, she's helping for those of you that would like to start having clients, especially high paying clients too. She's got a program coming up. So, do you want to tell them about it, Bessie?
Yeah, it's called the program is called Clearing Visibility and Worthiness Blocks to Attract High Paying Clients. And the reason that I really started this program is that I just keep on hearing it's important to answer the call. And when you're feeling the nudge that I want to play bigger in this life right now, there's so many things about visibility and worthiness, and the stories behind that that need to really be cleared and cleaned so that you are able to be a clear vessel to take all the inspired actions to get out there and courageously invite people to your program or invite people to work with you, et cetera, et cetera. And that one-on sessions are going to burn you out, and that it's important to know that this is an abundant universe and we are infinite beings, and we uh, it's important that when you can show up for yourself to clear those blocks, to really tune into the abundant, loving being that you are, and that you can stand in your personal power because you've healed the stories, and know that if one of those niggly wiggly stories come back, that you can immediately and know that you have the ability to come back to center, to keep going. And so it's a 7-week program, and uh, Daniel is sharing the link to the program. It's we go into some hypnosis, some past life regression, to look into the deeper stories and really connect the breadcrumbs so that learn and understand those stories and connect the breadcrumbs, you can now create the story that you want to be able to have for you so that you can move forward in really being confident and courageous, um, being visible, and know that you're worthy to be able to attract those high paying clients, to ask your clients for the money that you are worthy of asking for. And, um, and I'd love to be able to have anyone who'd be interested to, look at look at what I have to offer. And if you have any questions, to please contact me. I'd love to be able to support you in this group.
Okay, great, great. Yeah, put in the into the link. So you just click on that. You learn more details and the ability to go ahead and connect with Bessie or join the program or what have you. So go ahead and check that out. And if you feel like you're ready to change your story and flip the script, then I know Bessie will be the person to help you with that for sure. So. All right, great. Well, I appreciate you coming on today, Bessie. It's great to give more attention to, this subject that's such a big issue is being willing to, show up and have a lot of ideas like, well, who am I compared to all these other people out there, and and so sometimes I think because there's so many people online these days, you start to wonder like am I worthwhile? There's tons of people who have been doing things for decades and are such experts. And who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Right? There's far better healers than me. There's far better coaches. There's far better. And the
Right.
truth is, there is not a better coach or healer than you when it comes to working with the right people. And so you're going to be the difference maker for the right people. And that's answering that calling that Bessie's talking about. But you've got to flip your own those stories around. And like I said, Bessie's the one to help you with that.
Mm. Thank you, Daniel. Yes. And I just want to say that all of us are unique. No one of us are alike. And when we can understand that we have unique gifts to share with the world, we're not like anyone else. And so you got to get out there and just show up and be brave and courageous that you are a badass
Right, right.
and have so much to share with the world and have that courage and confidence. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, decades of experience is great, but I don't mean to talk against myself or Bessie because we've been working for a while, but honestly, it's not like 10, 20 years ago, we weren't already getting great testimonials and stuff. It's like you're already, the value is there. It's just a matter of willing to recognize it is more what it is. So,
Absolutely. 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 Well, thank you for having me, Daniel. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
yeah, thanks for coming on, Bessie. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for everybody that's been tuning in. Melanie, we appreciate your comment that you're going to also listen to the replay you said. So, anyway, okay, lots of love and blessings, everybody. Goodbye for now.
Bye bye.